Hey friends, it has been over 6 months since we had a conversation. On July 13th, 2024, my husband passed away from a major stroke. He had a brainstem stroke as well as both sides of the cerebellum. And for the last 6 months, it has been taking care of the farm, taking care of paperwork, plowing snow, doing all the things, right? And also providing myself with space to mm, feel all the feels and step into the magic um, of all of this, as well as the deep grief of all of this. So I don't know where this channel is going to go yet. Even after 6 months, there's no real pull towards human design. I've closed down all of my coaching, all the mentorship, all of that has been closed. Yes, you can still get a couple reports off my website. If you want to uh, grab the self-study, you can do that as well. However, I'm just allowing myself the space to entrench myself in the magic. And what do I mean by magic? So being able to witness Ken's essence or soul, whatever you'd like to call it, lift out of his body and reconnect with the personality crystal was something that I don't ever think I can put words to. I allowed the Bardo process, so his body wasn't disturbed, cut up, autopsied, cremated, none of that. I gave him that gift, and he had made this decision for himself. He was fully conscious and aware. With a brainstem stroke, there's no physical paralysis. What it does is it affects the internal organs. And because we were in the middle of well, we had just started haying, I guess, and it was 40 degrees outside Celsius. So it was very hot. And brainstem strokes present as heat stroke. So we both thought he had heat stroke. So I was taking care of him for that. And needless to say, it didn't, come to light that he was actually having a stroke for probably 15 hours after he had, after he was starting to feel bad. So to say the least, we definitely didn't catch it in time, and because of the way it presents. So very interesting that he actually was the second young farmer last summer that went through that process. The other farmer was in his 30s. My husband was 55. And because it appears as though it is a heat stroke, um, it's very deceptive. It's very deceptive. So in this process, he, as just like Ken was always my biggest teacher, and he's still here teaching me. And it's about me being aware and present in the moment, not thinking about anything else, just being really aware and present and letting his uh, pure positivity and energy and frequency and soul and essence, whatever you want to call it. He's definitely been here to guide this entire process. And to say that it has been magic would definitely be an understatement. I've had sisters come to visit and watch the process and just be like dumbfounded and mystified by how powerful he is still. So that's kind of what I've been doing for the last 6 months is going through this, watching this process, playing in this process, being really present in this process, giving myself time to rest, taking care of what needs to be taken care of. It's very interesting to watch how the dog is not concerned about this at all. He feels them here constantly. So I, I don't have an answer yet. Someone with a totally open G, as you know, my design does. It's not that I don't know who I am. I definitely know who I am. I'm very strong in this process. Many people have just been in awe of the strength and fortitude, and it's because there's a deeper awareness there. There's a deeper awareness to know that this is all happening and falling into place and doing what it needs to do. So I'm not really 100% sure what direction this particular channel is going to take yet. I know that there's something brewing. I can feel it in the background. I just don't have words or a process for it yet. And if any of you remember, I had a picture, well, a painting, I guess, that was done for Ken and I for our anniversary a couple years ago. And it sat in some of my videos. If you're curious, you can go back and look. It was at least a couple years ago. Our anniversary is in February, so it would have been a couple years. So what would that have been? 2023, maybe? February, March of 2023. And when I went to pick up the painting, one side is Ken, the other side is me, and Ken's side had a skeleton in it. And when I looked at it, I remember the split second thought of, that fucker's gonna die on me. And it just, I let it pass through, and you know, of course, you don't really want to believe that those kind of things. Intuitively, I knew. And then earlier this spring, I was talking to one of the people in the mentorship group, and I just said, you know, I don't know what it is, but something big is going to happen. I feel like it's going to have to do with the farm. It's going to be, you know, I didn't know at the time. And one thing that has been truthful for me throughout my walk in this particular incarnation is intuitive hits are always there. Really knowing what they all mean and how they're going to play out is not always available to me. But trusting and allowing myself to just walk through whatever needs to be walked through, and knowing that I know my decision making. I feel as though my decision making process has, and that deep sacral pull that happens on that life force and moves me into a decision, moves me to the place that I need to be. I know I can trust that. I know that's always available to me. So I have so many stories that I could share, talk about around how profound it is for a decision to be present around end of life. You know, I get it. Some people, sometimes there's accidents and you're taken immediately. In Ken's instance, he had already made the decision, and we had talked about it so much in our relationship that he did not want to lay in a hospital bed, and I was to pull the plug no matter what. He did not want to be confined to a hospital bed. And because he had made that decision, Yes, I was definitely in the mode of survival when this was all happening. But because I knew that I wasn't making the decision, this was a decision that he had already made and had told numerous people. So he also could convey that to the doctors. He was conscious. He was there. He was in his mind and was able to communicate and say no, no. I do not want to lay in a hospital bed on life support. My husband's always been a farmer. That's all he's ever known, working. So to confine him bedridden to a hospital bed on life support was like it was it was a no-brainer, of course, to know that I would never allow that to happen, and he had already made that decision. So there's a few takeaways I would like you guys to gather from what I've learned. Okay, first off, make sure that end of life decisions are known by are known like for your loved ones that are going to be helping you or taking care of you or whatever that looks like. Okay, make sure that end of life decisions are taken care of. Here in Canada, we call it an NDE and a power of attorney. So if you're incapacitated, someone that you love and trust is taking care of those. Okay. And make the decision. Make the decision. And if your life circumstances change and that decision needs to change, trust it. Be that, be so solid in your decision making. Like my husband was so solid in this decision that he was adamant that there was no way that he would be laying in a hospital bed. That was something that he made me promise numerous times that I wouldn't let that happen. Um, Money, finances, please have some kind of savings or life insurance policy for the people that are left behind here doing the earthly things. Okay. Just relieve the burden because, I look at how my mind, my brain was kicked into survival mode. And for the first 3 months, just taking care of the farm and doing all the things and yet still being present to watch the miracles and the magic of how Ken was orchestrating all of this. It had I had to go to a quote unquote job, that would have been unbearable. Okay. Yes, the farm is a job, but it is a lifestyle more so than a quote unquote job. So, so I just hope that you're able to gift that to the person that is going to be left behind. Third, set your boundaries. Um, Grieving for everyone is different. I do it more in a solitude way. I'm very protective of our space so that I can really grok all the wisdom and the knowledge that is happening. Okay. Um, be aware that, people will, I don't know this for your experience, but in my experience, there's been people that have tried to take advantage, people that want to benefit from the death of my husband, which sounds so crazy, but true. Um, but also that there are many, many people that are there to help, and they care and they want to help. So what I love about design, of course, is that it helps you with discernment. And I'm not going to say that my radar is always perfect because it's not. But I do trust that if something smells fishy, it is fishy. And if something feels deeply genuine, it's deeply genuine. So just be aware of that for yourself, that, have an end of life decision. Uh, if you can, I think it's so important to make sure that there's some kind of a financial setup so that it is taken care of. Funerals are expensive, cremation's expensive, all of this stuff costs money. Make sure you have you can pay your bills, do all the things, right? As well, set your boundaries, know and discern who you want to let in, who you don't want to let in, and how you want to walk through your grieving process. Again, my grieving process, I'm pretty much doing it alone. Yes, I have tremendous sisters, I have really good friends, but they can't lift the burden of all of these feelings. They can't lift that from me. I have to walk through it myself. And and because of that, I know that I need space. Being like immersed in a whole bunch of people and doing this, on display, um, even though I'm designed to be observed, there are people watching. My neighbors are all watching from a distance. I am being observed. So just know how you want to be in this grief and allow yourself the space. And grief is so interesting because it actually shows up more as fear. So watch that as well. It can it can start to morph into being afraid of the future, afraid of the next decision, afraid of, just being afraid. So, that is something to watch. Now, I didn't really want this to turn into me giving a lecture around this. However, I'm a teacher at heart, and sharing my experience, I think, may or may not, I don't know, may help those that um, need to hear this. So, as for what's going to happen on this channel, I'm not 100% sure yet. I feel I again, there's going to be this adjustment that takes place again this spring, kind of summerish. I feel that that's all going to happen. This first 6 months has just been such a deep learning, and yeah, I don't know. But if this channel bumps into you down the road and there's new content on it, that's going to be excellent. In the meantime, um, I hope that you're all deeper in your process of honoring who you are, honoring your navigation here, trusting your decision making and your discernment process, and being kind to yourself and to others. Our physical 3D world for the next 2 years, even though we've been watching it kind of since late 2019, has gone through such a divisive uh, process. While we're all getting kind of squished down, as I say it, to me, it looks like a timepiece laying on its side, where you have this squishing down of everybody's getting like compressed. All of a sudden, our global world, which for if you look at it in this map, it's ginormous, and yet we're all being squished down, and things are being made very small, very fast. A news cycle might be, only hours long until the next thing kicks in and kicks in. And our nervous systems are just being bombarded right now. And I don't think we're going to feel relief until, 2026, 2027, 2028. So in that meantime, as we all grieve our old lives, some of us have lost loved ones, maybe animals, maybe our homes, maybe our jobs, whatever that looks like. We all walk through this grief, and the grief that happened in the last 4 years for the worldwide grief, is something that, like, everything's coming to a crescendo and squishing down, and really it's almost like, dramatic music is playing in the background, right? Like, what's gonna happen? But trust yourself. Lean deeper into the mechanics of your design. Don't let all the stuff that's going on in the world seep in there and take you to a place that isn't beneficial. Be aware of it, interact with it how you need to interact with it when it's correct for you to interact with it. And then as we expand out, just recognize that there's so much opportunity here right now for us to deeply know ourselves. And again, someone who has a totally open G center. The other day I heard that, oh yeah, anybody with an undefined G or an open G, they don't know themselves. Well, maybe I have said that in the past. That is not truthful for me. I know myself so profoundly, but it's usually my direction that gets tweaked and shifted. As the compass turns, I just have to flow with that movement as the next bend in the road happens. I know who I am. I can trust my mechanics, but which direction is that momentum going towards? It's all through response. All right, friends, again, I wasn't expecting this to be a teaching, more so about a sharing to let you know that that's what's taking place in my world. I don't know if you care or not, but yeah, if you can trust yourself deeper, that really was the whole point of this entire channel. All right, thank you.